Welcome back children to a fifth video for chapter 9, Tourism, Transport and Communication. And today we are going to study India and transport, comparing it with the transport in Brazil. Okay, so from time to time I will remind you the transport in Brazil. Now transport routes in India is very dense considering the large extent of India and the huge population, except the hilly areas of northeast. Okay, where the Purvachal or the eastern Himalayas stretches, that region has very low network of roads, railways, etc. and also the deserts of Rajasthan and to some extent the northern Himalayan region as well. Now this map is not there for drawing or reading for 2020-21 only, but at the same time, as I always mention, it's important to read the maps, understand the maps, because that will help you to understand what we want to talk about when we talk about the transport routes of India. Moreover, it helps you to understand and write the answer. So therefore, I would advise you not to skip this activity. Let's go through the activity quickly. Okay, now which means of transport are visible? Now there are two maps on page 64 and 65. You can look at your textbook as well. Okay, so the first map gives us, we need to find the index. This one gives us roadways and major waterways, that is major ports. And the next map gives us major railways, okay, and airways, that is airports. So now that we know, Brazil too had same four means of transport: roadways, railways, waterways and airways like India. Now name 5 important ports and 5 important airports of India. For that you need to look at your textbook. Now since this is not not going to be asked for the exam, otherwise I would have asked you to remember to read the eastern ports and the western ports. Okay, so we have eastern coast and western coast. So we have eastern ports and western ports. So since we don't need to find out exactly which are on the east and which are on the west, we can just name some of the ports. For that we need to look out for the anchor marks. Okay, so here you find one anchor mark, that is at Visakhapatnam. I'll look at my textbook which is clearer. Okay, then you have Chennai on the eastern coast. Coming to Kolkata, you have at Kolkata and another one at Haldia. All these are on the eastern coast, and on the western coast you have Kochi, okay, in Kerala, and then coming back to Mumbai is a seaport again, and in Gujarat you have the Porbandar. Okay, so that's, just a minute, I'll shift this. So here you have Porbandar in Gujarat, here, this area. Okay, so these are some of the major ports, and for airports we have to look again at the map, but the second map here. Okay, and here you have it in Delhi. You have airports at Mumbai, you have Pune, then you have Bengaluru. Okay, you have at Chennai, you have at Kanyakumari, you have at Visakhapatnam, you have at in Gujarat at Howrah. So, in Kolkata at Howrah. So, these are major airports in our country: Howrah, Visakhapatnam, Chennai, Kanyakumari, Pune, Mumbai, Delhi. So, compared to Brazil, India has more of airways. Okay, national as well as international, local as well. Now, in which part of India is the density of railway more? Now, if you look at the density of railway, this northern plains here. Okay, or this entire northern plain has huge density of network. Maybe I can use a pen for this. Okay, so here huge network of density of railway lines. Look at the index. This gives you the symbol for railways. Okay, and which part has very sparse population? Not population. Which are the regions which have very sparse network or density of network for transport routes? You don't find much in the northern part as well as in the northeastern part. Okay, you can see one railway line here, a huge railway line joining almost major cities in the northeast, but otherwise besides that we don't really have much of network of routes there. Again, in the western part of Rajasthan, okay, this part is empty here. So this part also has very little network. So which part of India is the density of railways more? Northern plains, definitely. Which part of India has a sparse network of transport, and what could be the reason? So here, of course, just a minute. Okay. So here, of course, it's the northeastern part, the northern part, and the Rajasthan. Rajasthan because it's a desert, the northern and northeastern part mainly because it's mountainous region covered by rugged topography of the Himalayas. Talking about roadways, now we know the roadways are of great significance in Brazil. Almost 50% of transport takes place through roadways. Okay, what about India? For India too, roadways is a very, very important means of transport. Why? Because India is stretched to various villages. So all villages are connected to the urban areas, to the cities, to the national highways with the help of roads. Okay, we have a variety of roads, highways, we have Kacha roads, okay, we have state highways, national highways. So roadways are very, very important in a huge country like India, especially because we stretch right into the villages. So 85% of passengers transport takes place through roadways. So once again, for India, like Brazil, roadways is important. And 70% of freight means goods transport also takes place through roadways. Okay, then all villages in India are connected by roads. Talking about the railway in India, we have seen the northern plains have huge density of railway lines. Railway is very important for a vast country like India where places are far away. Railway is important for growth of the economy of country. Now railway help in transporting passengers. So we have passenger trains as well as goods. So we have goods train. Freight means goods. I'm sure you have all seen goods trains. Okay, and good amount of goods are carried by these goods train. For example, coal, for example, milk, for example, petroleum, for example, vehicles, cars, bikes, etc. Okay, so trains in India are used for passengers as well as for goods. Railway is dense in the North Indian plains that we saw in the map. Okay, but sparse in the hilly areas of north and northeast and also the west of Rajasthan and even central India. Why central India? Any guesses? Yes, because of the forested land over there. Madhya Pradesh has good forest area. Waterways are the cheapest modes of transport, but do we really use waterways for passenger transport? Very, very rarely. Okay, some rivers, some canals are used for waterways, but otherwise, mainly waterways in India are used for international goods. Okay, we mainly use it for foreign trade. Large amount, the word shipping, whenever we order something on Amazon or anywhere, the word shipping has come from this word. Okay, because most of the foreign goods come to India via waterways. Bringing it through airplanes would be very, very costly for us, and then the cost price increases as well. So waterways are cheapest modes of transport, and there is no need. Why is it the cheapest way? It could be a give reason. Okay, because there is no need to build any roadways. There's no need to maintain the roads, etc. Water is free and waterways are easily maintainable. You don't have to maintain it rather. So there is no need to develop the routes. It's free routes, or no need to develop ports. In fact, the western side has good indented coastline which supports more of ports. Okay, so there are many good natural ports on the western side compared to eastern side. Do you know why? We had this as one of the give reasons or differences, I guess, in one of the chapters earlier when we studied physiography. Okay, the eastern coast is much, much shallower because most of the major rivers are east flowing in India, and at the mouth they develop deltas. Okay, so ships cannot come right up till the coast, but on the western side the sea is deep. Okay, and moreover it's indented coast. So the ships can reach right up till the coast. If you look at Kolkata in the in the eastern side again, Kolkata during low tide ships cannot reach there, and therefore a new port at Haldia has been developed. Okay, so for cheap materials like minerals, raw materials, waterways becomes the best means of transport, and 95% of India's foreign trade is carried out through oceans, that is through waterways. Hence, India relies on sea route mainly for international trade. Okay, not really for passengers, but mainly for international trade for goods only. Waterways in India comprises of rivers, that is very little, 1% of passengers travel by these waterways, like rivers, canals, backwaters of Kerala, creeks like the Thane Creek. Okay, now creek is when the water during high tide enters into coastal region. That becomes creek, and backwaters of Kerala as well. So 1% of passenger transport takes place through these waterways. Waterways are also used for transportation between islands and mainland. So when people want to go to Andaman Nicobar Island or Lakshadweep Islands, then waterways are necessary. Okay, we do have airports as well, air routes taking us to Andaman and Nicobar Island as well as Lakshadweep. But some people prefer traveling by boats. Then last one is airways. Now airways in India is much more developed than in Brazil. Okay, because India is a huge country and a developing country as well. Moreover, we do not have the thick rainforest like of Amazon. Okay, so it's more feasible for us to use the airways. There are a number of international flights from India and many international airports. Okay, you can surf the net to find out a little more about major international airports that we have in our country. Okay, so as I told you, we need to go beyond the textbook. Mumbai is one of the major international airports. Delhi, for example. Okay, you can surf the net for a few more. Domestic flights are also gaining importance in India nowadays, and especially with this pandemic. Okay, in this year 2020, many people are avoiding going by buses. They prefer taking the domestic flights. Okay, business people who need to save time also depend on domestic flights. Now, always remember, development of transport is the indicator of progress and development of a country. It is called as an index. It's an indicator of progress and development. Looking at the transport routes, you can say whether the country is developed or underdeveloped. Our Pune Metro, which is coming up, okay, will definitely make you understand. After some years, the entire place will be transformed, and you'll be wondering, like, is this Pune that we were living in? Okay, because definitely along with the railway line, along with the metro, there will be a lot of development as well. So development of transport is an indicator of progress or development of any nation. So we stop here. In the next video, which is very important to understand the time zones, which I will be explaining in detail. So keep watching. Thank you and God bless you. See you soon.